Welcome to the third stop of the winter season tour of the Professional Women's Bowling Association. This is Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic at Jack's Lanes West. Hello everyone, I'm Leandra Riley, and for the first time since 1980, professional women's bowling has returned to the great city of Jacksonville, Florida. In fact, this is the first of 3 Florida stops for the PWBA. Now, even though the season is young in 1998, we are going to see some very familiar faces once again in our stepladder finals. Let's take a look at the qualifiers. Finishing 5th is Yvette Smith, and she will be bowling in our opening match against Liz Johnson, a familiar face for bowling fans. Then it'll be Tish Johnson as she pursues her second title of the 1998 season. Waiting in the wings is Kathy Doran in the semifinal match. What a great week she has had. And then our top qualifier is Dana Miller-Mackey from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Now, as I mentioned, we do have some familiar faces. Dana Miller-Mackey qualified for the stepladder finals in Lubbock, Texas. We saw Liz Johnson in Huntsville, Alabama. And of course, Tish Johnson won in Texas, so she's pursuing that elusive second title. But those aren't the only bowlers with good stories. And standing by is my broadcast partner, Jan Schmidt, who's with 2 bowlers in our stepladder finals. We've got some interesting things to say.
Thanks, Leandra. I'm with our number 5 qualifier, Yvette Smith. Yvette, it's your first telecast out here. How are you battling the nerves right now?
I'm real nervous. I'm just going to keep it up to God. That's all I can do.
Well, last night you actually impressed all of us. You came out, needed to win the match to make the show. You started with the first 5, won 245 to 244. How did you compose yourself?
Just kept taking deep breaths, and I don't know. I really don't know how I did that, but I guess I was fortunate.
Well, you told me a little secret. Sometimes you think about some people at home to calm yourself. What do you do there?
I think about my mom and my 2 kids back at home, and I start laughing because I know they're with me all the way.
Okay, and how do you feel about tonight's shot? You like to throw hard. Can you do it tonight?
Unfortunately, I got to soften up the speed a little bit, but I should be okay.
Okay, good luck, Yvette.
Thank you.
Now let's chat with Kathy Dorn, our number 2 qualifier. Kathy, this is the highest you've qualified in a tournament. How do you feel about this week?
I feel wonderful, Jan. I told myself in the beginning of the year I was going to come out more confident. I chose the right equipment. I stay very focused. And regardless of what happens tonight, I really feel that I accomplished a good feat this week, and I'm ready to go.
Well, hey, you were the only one of the top 5 that stayed in the top 5 all week long. I know you're a come-from-behind player. How did you stay up there?
I just kept focusing on what I was doing. I wanted to stay aggressive, and I wanted to try to catch the leader. And even though I didn't catch Dana, I made everybody still try to catch me. So I didn't have to play catch-up.
Thanks, Kathy. Great week. Good luck tonight.
Thanks a lot.
Back to you, Leandra.
And Kathy Doran will have to wait, as she is the number 2 qualifier. Liz Johnson has opted to bowl first against Yvette Smith. Yvette sounded so nervous during that interview. Hopefully she can settle down and do what she needs to do on the lanes. As you can see, Liz Johnson, 2nd year as a pro, 23 years old, from Niagara Falls. Now, Liz also qualified 4th in her last stepladder finals, but wound up finishing 5th. So this is her second time in the 4th position, and she's not off to a strong opening start. And she converts this sparrow. Good job by Liz Johnson. Opening jitters settle down quickly as she marks in the first frame. So now it is Yvette Smith who steps up, and her mother grabbed that flight from California to come here in Jacksonville, Florida, flew all night to be with her daughter. And I think that's been a calming effect on Yvette. Not that she needs any calming down, but she gets on a little edgy on that interview, and she looks good on the lanes.
Great opening shot for Yvette. She has to feel good about that. She was nervous down there, Leandra.
You could feel her heart pounding,
I could.
right?
I had my hand in her back, and I could feel her kind of shaking just a bit, but she took a deep breath and got up there and made a great shot. Coming up a little high, leaving the 3-6. We just saw Liz come high in that same meeting. They have to watch to see how they progress. If the lanes break down, then lane 9 might be hooking a little bit more. I did talk to all of the players right before the telecast. Left side and right side all feel the lanes are much tighter than they've been throughout the week. But they do that to try to hold up under the lights so that they won't break down as quickly.
How strong is Yvette Smith? She's one of 4 bowlers this week who have bowled at 300 during this tournament. So she's one hot bowler here in Jacksonville, Florida, as Liz Johnson steps up. Now, this is her 3rd year on the tour. She's using a 15-pound ball. She already has 5 professional titles to her credit, just her 3rd year on the tour, so ouch.
That's pretty amazing. She had 2 in her rookie year out in 96, 3 titles in 97.
Oh, that was...
One of the real taps in bowling, a solid 8. Ball just driving a little bit too hard.
Liz said since winning back-to-back title events in 97, that being McAllen, Texas, and Memphis, Tennessee, she has lost 4 out of 5 matches.
Covers the spare. Watch this lady. She has a 5-step approach, pushes the ball off on 2. Real mechanical, but she gets the job done. Gets the ball well out on the lane, and she plays a real tight, straight line into the pocket. She's so consistent. She can repeat shots, and she doesn't get in trouble. And take a look at her eyes. Watch, she draws a line. She's looking down the lane. Now watch her start to look in. Arrows, dots, foul line. That's how she draws them. She draws a line in her mind from the pins back to the foul line before she goes up.
And while lane 9 rattled her in the opening frame, she seems to have found the groove here in the 3rd frame.
Wow.
Yvette Smith likes to fish during her time off. She didn't get a chance to do that here in Jacksonville. But that certainly is a peaceful way to take your mind off all the pressures and tensions of being a professional athlete.
She's a very emotional lady. High again. Even the 3-6 right there. She may find that she's going to be able to throw harder. You know, I just asked her, she did like to throw hard. Last night she was throwing bullets down the lane, but she felt they were tighter. She had to go with some different equipment, and I think she's being new. She's not going to realize how fast those lanes will break down.
And she converts in the 3rd frame.
Yvette has a 4-step approach. Watch her move the ball. She's going to get it going before her feet start going. Look at this backswing. Ooh, that's low for her. She has slowed it down. Follows through straight up over her head. Nice extension at the foul line. That is considerably lower on the backswing than she was last night. She was all the way over her head with the backswing, so that's how you can control your speed. She's shown a little versatility here.
Well, Yvette needs to settle down.
On up light. I know the lanes are tighter for her, and you saw it, but they did hook twice. She could probably go back to the ball she was using last night, get her feet a little right, and have a good shot. She's got a duller surface on this ball. She may have trouble getting it to hit.
This is only her 2nd year on tour, but she's probably been in all of, 10 events. She hasn't really done a full season. So she marks in the 4th. We'll be back with more Liz Johnson against Yvette Smith as the Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic continues in just a moment. Welcome back to the Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic, and we've had some excitement while we were away.
Liz Johnson step up and struck in the 4th and 5th to take it to a 23-pin lead, but Yvette Smith fought back, striking in the 5th, 6th, and 7th, bringing the match to all even. Right now, because of 9 pin counts, it's a 1-pin match. Liz Johnson leads by 1 pin, and talking about even, they tied in match play.
Doesn't get any closer than that. Liz Johnson on lane 10, 9-10, our television pair.
And both players have a little bit of trouble right here playing the same type of line. If they start the ball to the left too much, it hooks instantly. If they try to leave it right, it doesn't get back. Right here, she starts the ball going, well, actually right up the lane, but it turns over and jumps hard onto the nose. They can't seem to line up, get that exact fit. They can't really swing it to the right, but they can't start it too too much toward the head pin. This is a tough spare. The ball is going on.
Open frame in the 8th, open door for Yvette Smith. You know, how does that happen? You see somebody with a 3-bagger like Liz Johnson has, 3, 4, and 5, strike, 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 and then they lose it. What happens? You think they have everything figured out?
Well, they're not exactly robots, so they're making little small changes on every shot. They're not perfect, and a small change right now seems to really affect the back-end reaction on the ball. Mostly ball speed. She really was aggressive with her ball speed on that shot. It held line. We had talked about Yvette. One of those strikes she came back with was a broken and crossed over. She picked up her ball speed a little bit after that, and she seems to be okay now.
That was very obvious that she had started off with less velocity and then kind of got back into her own groove. What brought her here, and that was ball speed. And she steps up on 10. And what does she get?
Very easy. Running it out. We're going to see some emotion from her. This lady is very intense when she bowls. This shot straight up about the 6th, 7th board. A lot of speed. It's holding line, and it finishes dead solid in the pocket. And there goes Yvette.
So by 13 pins, Yvette Smith is in the lead. She moves over to number 9, and Liz Johnson is concentrating, hoping.
She can shut her out right here with a strike at 9 pins.
Oh, no strike though.
Oh, gonna need to spare it up. She can shoot 215 with a spare strike.
There's her mother, Diane, from California. What a wonderful mom she is, too. She watches Yvette's children, her son, John, who's 9 years old, and her daughter, Brianna, who's 19 months. So it's a real family effort out here.
Yeah, they really help her out a lot.
Okay, she's working on that 215.
You can say, well, the pressure's on Liz Johnson. We asked her how she likes pressure, and then we'll go to the soundbite where she says she wants it on her.
So Yvette Smith knows what she has to do. It's kind of the best of what she can do in a worst-case scenario. The best she can do is a 215, and she said she pays attention to that score, so she knows.
Right.
Right into the soundbite.
Pin count important here because she can force Liz to go.
And she does. She gets the strike, and now the pressure is on Liz Johnson. And we spoke with her earlier about pressure. She told us she thrives on it.
I've always been a type of bowler who's always liked pressure. If ever there was a shot that came down to myself, I always wanted to be the one to have to get up there and make the strike or make the spare. And this is something I've always thrived on and wanted to do.
The look on her face tells the story. Here's the pressure, and she responds. She saw she needed to, now she needs more.
She's been there so many times, not only professional competition, but amateur competition. She knows how to get it done. Look at this. Come on. Giving herself a little self-talk.
I almost think she's the ball that's misbehaving. And you're like, no, you're doing it right. Yvette Smith can only sit and wait. And she does it. Liz Johnson punches out and moves up from 4th, possibly 3rd, at least an opportunity to go there.
Well, she still needs to get...
I mean, technically 4 pins.
Right,
I'm not
4
gonna-
pins.
Somehow I think she can do it.
I think it's pretty safe, but this lady, Yvette Smith, great performance.
What a week she provided here in Jacksonville. Everybody got behind her. She's such an emotional bowler. Like I said, she punches up. So Liz Johnson in Huntsville finished 4th in the qualifying, but then slipped to 5th because she lost that opening round match. This is what she needed to win.
Sends it up right about the 6th board. Same as the shot before, drives a little harder. Dead flush.
Needed the strike, got the strike. Liz Johnson advances. It'll be Johnson against Johnson. Liz against Tish when we continue here in Jacksonville, Florida. The PWBA Tour is being brought to you by AMF Bowling Worldwide, the largest owner and operator of bowling centers in the world and one of the leading makers of bowling products. AMF always means fun. And by Bud Light. For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Welcome back, and Liz Johnson continues to climb the ladder. Her opponent this time is the first southpaw we've seen in the stepladder finals here in Jacksonville, Tish Johnson. Liz has opted to go first. She opens on lane 9. Johnson's 23 years old from Niagara Falls. She's on Columbia's staff. This is her 3rd year on the tour.
Coming up light there, just not quite catching that ball. You're sort of wiping off her hand coming back. It's actually Leandra Tish's choice in this match because Tish was the higher qualifier. So she chose to have Liz start. However, that's kind of interesting because that's what Liz prefers to do because then she finishes last.
So Johnson accommodating Johnson in this match.
Yeah.
Liz says her strength is her mental game. She adjusts accordingly and marks to open.
And she did just prove that in that last match.
Oh, did she?
This lady pretty strong mentally herself and physically. She's been out here a long time and she knows how to get a job done.
18th year on the tour, and she is a crowd favorite. Already this season, she has won 1 title, Lubbock, Texas. She now has 22 career wins.
She does have a mic on, so we want to see if she'll help us out here and give us some insight as to what's happening. She did tell me that the lanes were a little bit tighter, a lot tighter for her actually, but again, expecting them to break down with the lights. She is the first left-hander on the lanes, so there'll probably be some changing for her during this game. Softens up a little to make sure she gets the reaction out of the ball and unfortunately hooks too much. This looks like the same thing we saw out of Liz and Yvette at the beginning of the match on the right side of the lanes. So I think they're going to change very quickly in the beginning and then settle in.
And this time she converts in the second frame. So an open frame and a spare for Tish Johnson to open things up here at the Jacksonville Classic. And you see the score, 22 to 215. Liz defeated Yvette Smith. And she certainly knows the lane conditions.
Coming up light again. Be just a little bit tentative to start this match. She knows that the ball could overhook on her. She's a little inside the target there, hitting about 8th board, not getting out to those dry boards. There's a heavy strip of oil or conditioner there, and the ball will slide if she pulls it through it. He's leading by 10 pins.
She has an interesting day when she's in the TV finals. She doesn't really have any preset ritual. She tries to rest, sleep in, and she said she can't really eat, though, on the day of a stepladder final. Her nerves just keep her from eating.
And that's exactly what she knows will happen. If she softens up too much, it's going to jump the nose. So not a really great shot as the players have had all week long. However, it's interesting to me that when she was under the pressure in the 10th frame to win the match, she was able to, crush all 3 shots.
Owners coming up.
Art and Vicky Ettlinger, the proprietors of the Jack's Lanes Bowling Centers, and there are several of them, and they've got a fine facility here at Jack's Lanes West here in Jacksonville. Very popular people on the bowling circuit here in Florida.
We had a great time here. Everyone's been very hospitable this whole swing so far.
I guess they're on the A list of who to invite to your bowling party. You think? Now here's something interesting. Tish just took a re-rack.
She believes the pins weren't on spot.
He was right, maybe.
Chose the right rack. players are allowed 2 re-racks during the TV show per game. He's outside of the 5th board, way out by the channel. Look how late the ball's finishing. But she's definitely solved her problem of carry right there.
Commercial after this.
Again, coming up soft.
Boy, I think,
Kaplan.
yeah, it is, because we saw some great scores throughout the entire week. In particular, 9 and 10 was a good scoring pair. So I think right now, as I said, a little bit heavier conditioner laid down to compensate for the TV lights. I think after a couple of games, we'll see the scores.
She knocks it down. Still trails by 9. We'll be back with a continuation of this second match here in Jacksonville after this. Welcome back. The pendulum has shifted the other way.
This is Tish Johnson in the 7th frame, already working on 1 strike. The 8 and 10 fall last. Now she's up in the 8th. She can take the lead with this shot. Coming up light, blowing out the 10 pin to take a 1-pin lead.
So after trailing by as many as 21 pins, Tish Johnson now holds the slimmest of leads here in our second match at the Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic.
However, Liz is working on a strike. She struck 3 out of 4 shots while we were gone also. Unfortunately, not all 3 in a row.
Now she has 2 in a row. Whoa, what a drop there.
She really started that ball toward the pocket. That's what she hit. Last time on the plane, she pulled it inside target and didn't get to the head pin. That time, just making it there. Head pin off the wall, hitting the 4, spinning around. Tip of it just tapping out the 7. Oh, yeah.
That's all it takes. It's just the tip. So she's working on 2. She moves over to lane number 9. 3 in a row. She regains the lead.
I believe this is a teeter-totter match, but here's the first strike from Liz Johnson. Hitting about the 7th board. See how light that came up? Look at how just the tip of the head pin bounced off, knocked that 7 pin down. Now she says, wait a minute, let me get it right to the dry, where she did. You see that got to about the 5th board. Watch it drive. Dead flush, and I think it's the same, pretty close on both lanes. She just didn't get it out as far in lane 10.
And our graphic tells the story. She's working on 3 and trails way out into the channel. I left enough this week. Words from Tish Johnson. She's sick of seeing that number 7 hanging there.
She did have trouble with carry early on in the league. Yeah, a lot of things to try to change that.
You got it blindfolded. You said you should be blindfolded. You didn't need so much this week. Here are our numbers. Tish trailing by 20.
All she can do is 216 at this point. That would force Liz to mark.
But she's on her way to that. Then our TV average was 220.
I'll tell you what, because she said because she could not carry and struggling in the last round, she really wasn't even in the cut to the top 24. Shot 258 the last game to make the cut in 21st place. Last night, shot 255 in position round to stay in the show.
Oh, guess who's standing there? Her favorite team. Go figure. Boy, the minute it was out of her hand, she knew.
There's it up.
The 206.
Liz not even needing a mark now.
Here's one thing. Not a bad payday, finishing 4th, but disappointment. And that closes the door on Tish Johnson as Liz Johnson continues her climb up the ladder. Liz Johnson moves on to take on Kathy Doran, but first, these messages. Liz Johnson continues her climb up the ladder, and now she must face 31-year-old Kathy Doran from Linden, New Jersey. And this should be a very exciting match. Kathy Doran, one of the hottest bowlers here in Jacksonville, but Liz Johnson certainly handling the pressure. Now there you see the final score from the first and second matches for Liz Johnson, 222 to 215, and then she ousted Tish Johnson, 235 to 206. There you see the average of 218 on the TV pair. Tonight's average a little higher than that.
And as she did last match, excuse me, coming up light on her first shot to start the match, leaving the 210.
It's a winning formula, what can I say?
Yeah, well, this one a little bit tougher to pick up than what she's been leaving. She needs to get the ball to the left side of the 2-pin and slide the 2-pin over into the 10.
Oh, she slid it over, but not on a sharp enough angle.
Kathy jumping right up there, wants to get going, get that first ball off her hand.
What a week this six-year pro has had as she knocks him down to open things up.
Great way for her to start.
She has never slipped below third this entire week. She has just been on fire.
And look at that average, 227.57, and she only won 11 matches out of 24. 11, 12, and 1 tie. That's a pretty low average match play record for TV. But because she averaged so high, she was able to hang in there.
She's bowling with a lot of confidence. Feels very secure about her equipment. And we'll get into why she is so confident about that when she steps up again.
Nice release, getting the ball out on the lane. Look at that, to about the 5th board. Watch it drive.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, that's it. And Liz Johnson answers the pressure with a strike of her own. And this event is being brought to you by Visionary Bowling Products, makers of the high-performance Warlock, Sorcerer, and Amulet. Visit your local pro shop and get custom fitted for a Visionary ball today. So the Niagara Falls native moves over to lane number 9, finds herself in the hole, down 21 pins, but she's the lady who likes pressure. And responds.
Absolutely, it almost seems like she's better when she's behind. This lady also, as we talked about, likes to come from behind. Normally, she can claw her way back up into it, but this week she had to really work hard to stay up there, and she did it in fine fashion.
After she releases, hold back.
Oh.
She was yelling for that ball to hold. She knew it was going to hook up a little bit too soon.
It moved over but didn't drop. As if a professional bowler doesn't travel enough, she took a little side trip to Richmond, Virginia, and it paid off.
She did, working on her grips. That's what we were talking about. The grip or the fit of her bowling ball as she changes balls to shoot that spare. She had a lot of trouble not always having a consistent feel and being able to hang on to the ball. And she worked with Del Warren from AMF in Richmond, Virginia. Dale Niemela called her and said, hey, why don't you come out here? And she did. He changed her pitches. In other words, instead of her thumb being away in the ball, he brought it forward. Right there, he shortened up her span, so she has her hand actually on the ball, and she can really get her fingers and thumb into there. And she just wants to thank them so much, and she was so appreciative of all the work Del did with her. Del Warren, she said that really brought her game around to a new level.
She said she just couldn't get that read. The balls were, she couldn't read what they were doing, and now she said she can. It's just really opened up a whole new picture in the game. She drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled and drilled balls too.
You know what? That's a point I want to make as we watch her spare this. you go to your local pro shop and you ask them to drill you a ball, but they only get one chance at it. And they're, you know, you're kind of a guess. You're looking at a person's hand and their game style and trying to determine. She's a professional. They're experts at what they're doing, and they just drill ball after ball after ball, trying different pitches and different fits. Unfortunately, it's not a luxury you have at home that you can do that.
It's turkey time for Liz Johnson as she bags her third.
She's out around the 6th board. If she gets it to that point, the ball will drive to the pocket. When she's inside of that on lane 10 is when she's not getting it up to the pocket.
And she turns that deficit into a lead.
This looks like it's going to come down to a match of who's going to carry those corner pins out.
That's 4 for Johnson.
Come on.
Yeah, a little backup, little English. Yes. Down by 11, Kathy Doran steps up.
She's taking a re-rack. And
She's
up.
confirming the rules. I get
Right.
2, right? I get 2.
2 a game. Take a look. You see the head pin right there. You can already see the head pin is off spot. You can see the circle underneath where it should be. Kind of, if you can tell, it's directly in front there.
Kathy Doran said she wants to be a factor every week on the tour now. She understands so much more about the game, and she certainly is a factor here in Jacksonville.
There's that match play record we talked about. That was a beauty, no doubt there. You always want to make a good shot after you take the re-rack because you say,
Yes.
God, let's make it worthwhile.
And she's talking to specific pins there. Did you see that front pin? Strikes, spares. Let's see, she's back on track. Trailing by 11, moving over to lane 9.
She can take it down to 1 pin if she strikes again here. She looks good. She's looked great all week. With that confidence of knowing that you have a good feel in the ball, that's huge. And here's the lady that doesn't fold under pressure. As Fred Borden, a Team USA coach, once said, she has ice water in her veins.
And that's 5, and she's really found her mark.
A bit inside a target on that shot. Coming up really light, but fortunate to carry out the 7. Liz up by 11 pins now over Kathy Doran. It's anybody's match, though. They're both lined up.
After this ball, I'm going to show you the light pin on lane 10, the pin action.
When you're as young a bowler as she is, every experience is a learning experience, and boy, is she lucky that one dropped.
Well, coming up high there was a result of this. This was lane 10. She came up light, the head pin off the wall again, hitting the 4 pin, turning around, knocking out the 7. And as a result of that, on lane 9, trying to get it ball to drive hard, she did.
And you just missed the spare coming off that replay. So it's 5 in a row, followed by a spare for Liz Johnson. Kathy Doran's down by 9.
All right, Liz catching a big break there. 1992 third place at the AMF World Cup in France.
Oh, didn't spin enough to take out number 7.
Well, 5 pin kind of just laid there. It normally would drive over and take out the 7.
Looking at Tammy Turner, that is Kathy's roommate, trying to provide some support here.
She was wanting that one to go down. Good cover on the spare. Kathy using the spare ball to shoot pretty much most of her spares. It's a good idea. The way the conditions have been and the reactive resin, it's a good idea to go to a plastic ball to shoot those spares.
In Lubbock, Kathy Doran finished 26th. Then Huntsville, she finished 15th. And here she qualified 2nd, so she has been steadily improving and has just been so solid all week.
Show you Jeff.
Big ball here. There's Jeff Lizzie, her significant other.
PGA Tour member, he has one title. In fact, she's wearing a good luck charm. It was her Valentine's gift. This was that last shot out to about the 5th board. And she's into this one right now.
Yes. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Liz Johnson working on a spare in the 7th. Leaves the 10 pin in the 8th.
And she pulled that one into the conditioner, but really had the angle toward the pocket. Oftentimes, though, that's when you'll see the 10 pin 6 wrap right around the 10 pin. No problem with that
Saves
spare.
that. Not bad for 3 years on the tour, 181 plus.
Really, and it's just her 3rd year. It's her 3rd tournament of her 3rd year. That's pretty amazing.
5 career wins. Ouch.
Definitely the biggest start I know of anyone out here on tour. I think Kathy's roommate Tammy Turner was off to that kind of a start, but then the back injury ended that for a while. She's back this year, though.
Oh,
And again,
holy mackerel. Is she getting the lucky breaks on lane 9?
getting a break, right. That ball was a little bit high, however, not on the nose, so it was a little bit of a good break and a little bit of a bad break. She could have struck, but she could have left that 4-9.
That's the 2nd time in a row that's happened.
So Liz's shot coming up a little high. Look at the 4-7-9. Watch the head pin off the wall. It took out the 7 pin, and I don't even know what took out the 9. Couldn't even hardly see anything hit it. Just fell over backwards. That was a big
2
shot.
strikes for Kathy Dorn, and she now has a 2-in lead.
Not only that, but she can close out this match right there with the 10th frame. 2 strikes and 9 pins. Well, she chose to finish first. It was Kathy's choice. And she can put an end to it right here.
After she throws the ball, let's listen to her.
Oh, there's one.
She was yelling hold. She needed that ball to set up.
Oh, Liz knows this is not a good situation.
Well, Lizzie's just hoping to be able to step up and have a chance to win. Used to call this lady Clutch Cargo. She is just as tough in the clutch as Liz Johnson is.
Yes, there's the 2 strikes she needs. Now she needs.
Pins. 9.
9.
She doesn't even
Actually,
need
she doesn't
the
even
9.
need the 9 now.
Right,
Yeah, she's got
excuse
the
us, yeah.
4 strikes in a row.
Because
Puts her at
she was
240.
working on strikes, and Liz Johnson was not. Liz
Yeah.
Johnson had a spare up in the 9th.
So she punches out 4 in a row to finish at 247. And Liz Johnson climbs the ladder from 4th to 3rd and finishes with $4,000. We're going to continue our coverage here in Jacksonville. We have the other finishers yet to show you. Plus, we've got the big championship match between Kathy Dorn and Dana Miller-Mackey. And now it is time for our championship match. Right-hander Kathy Dorn against left-hander Dana Miller-Mackey. Dorn going first. Dana Miller-Mackey opts to sit down and watch.
And Kathy defeated Liz 247 to 223, and this is it. She said, I want to know what it feels like to bowl for that title.
I guess she likes the feeling. Opens with a strike and a statement.
She did not come light, and I was watching it as Dana got to warm up on lanes 9 and 10. Kathy went over to lane 8 and threw some shots, which is tighter. The ball was coming up light. I think maybe that's what was happening to Liz when she would come back to 9 and 10 to start the match.
We see that Dana Miller-Mackey is an 18-year pro. So far in 1998, she qualified third in Lubbock, Texas, but finished fourth. Then last week in Huntsville, Alabama, finished seventh. And here she is, the top qualifier. So she really has her ducks in a row this season.
233 average this week, and she said this was the best start that she's ever had to a season, the most consistent start. She led this field by 367 pins.
I guess if in 3 events your worst place is 7 and you've got 2 TV appearances under your belt, that is a great start.
This could be a really exciting match.
Starting out that way. Yeah. They're both ladies open with a pair of strikes in their first 2 frames, and this is dead even.
Kathy starts with the ball waist high. It's a 5-step approach. Watch how low she stays to the line all the way through. Knees bent. She's generating velocity with those legs. Look at the slide and the follow through. This is the result. Watch her blow this rack. Head pin off the wall. Everything going left.
Looked a little high, but everything fell.
Did she said hold and actually looked like it rolled out or hooked out.
Well, we've got Dana Miller-Mackey with 2 strikes, Kathy Doran with 3 strikes, and if you bowl a 300 game on television with all these strikes, that's certainly possibly in the works. You get $50,000 from MasterCard. Wouldn't that be exciting?
Oh boy.
We have 2 women who could possibly do it. Dana Miller-Mackey already bowled a 300 this week here at Jacksonville, and we just jinxed her, I swear.
You did it. I'm glad you did it.
Thanks, Jan.
You have to bowl with her all week.
Okay, I'll take credit. Sorry, Dana.
Those were the 300 games. Karen Stroud, Dana Miller-Mackey, Dee Davidson, Yvette Smith, 2 righties, 2 lefties. That was a great shot by Dana. The 7-pin rocked, but didn't fall. Okay, let's get to business. Shoot the spare. You might notice an extra hole there. She's not using that. She used to put her index finger in the ball. She's not doing that this year. She feels she's getting better hit on the ball and more consistent.
Have you ever tried that, not putting your index finger in? I mean, just in a practice ball. Do you ever see what that is like?
I don't use the index finger. Most players don't. I've never tried using it, so I don't know what difference it would make.
How come you never tried?
Didn't really have a reason to.
All right.
She went to it because of wrist problems, trying to take the strain off of her wrist. She started using that index finger, and she said it helped her. But right now, her wrist is holding up okay. She's icing it down. I know Sandra Jo Odom uses it, another player that uses that index finger.
So off the spare, she strikes on lane 9 as Kathy Doran is up by 11, working on 3 in a row.
It's definitely going to be a carry contest. Both players dead lined into the pocket.
Both ladies leave a pin standing at the 4th frame.
4-pin. Ball just driving a little too hard. I watched Kathy bowl quite a bit this week, and did a great job on her spares. And I think that changes in the pitches have actually helped her spare shooting a lot also. She has a consistent release. So Kathy's grip, she just uses the traditional two-finger fingertip.
When we were discussing the index finger placement, I guess what I should have asked you, do you try all grips? Do you try with the index finger or without? But I guess you just go with what works and carry on.
Yeah, it's just something that I've never tried. A lot of players probably have not tried that. This ball hitting a little bit weak, into the oil a little bit. She's been coming pretty high on that lane. 6-pin lays down in the channel.
Good night to the 10. Doran up by 9.
Now she has some balls. In fact, that ball does not even have the finger hole in it. Her spare ball's older, so she still has it with the old grip.
And on a strike, she asked me to mention that Adri Miller, her 12-year-old niece, is averaging 162. She wants us to say hello to her.
Stand to see how the right foot is forward. She did this to get her hips out of the way. 5-step approach, look at the arm swing, watch the finish position. Optimum level, knees bent about 20 degrees, back about 15 degrees.
And that strike was for Adri Miller back in altitude. She's got 2, she's got 3.
There goes Dana.
Plus 11. Come on. Come on. Yes.
Shot, that was big.
Saw that turn in high in the lane.
Well, just taking a jump, maybe a little bit softer into the dry just a little bit early. She needs to just take 2 pins here. There's a lot of frames left. Here's your first shot. Sets it down about 15, out to about 6th board. Looked like it should have been a good shot.
And then the big turn.
Just continued coming. It didn't lay off like the last shots have been doing, almost rolling out. That one continued driving.
The real measure here will be if she can recover from that. And she does. She settles herself right back down and gets back into the match.
Yes. Here, just here. Nice shot. $300 this week. And she's nowhere near that low, so we don't have to worry about that. Lisa Wagner's keeping our score here. She just marked down her 4th X in a row and says hello to all of her fans. Kind of getting a break on that one. Tripped out the 6th pin. That ball was driving pretty hard, but it laid off and hit the 6th. Look at that average on the TV pair, 260. I think she likes this pair.
I think so. I think she likes Jacksonville, Florida. Oh, oh.
Pin almost stood back up.
She was about 3 lanes over, trying to knock that one down with body English.
Shot coming in light. Let's watch it. Head pin. It's going to go off the wall. It's a head pin. Almost stood back up off the wall.
Read it well.
Gotta keep striking. She can shoot is 244. And I'm working on a 239 pace. 249, excuse me. So if she continues to strike, Dana will need to continue to mark.
Top.
Looks like she has a real fine line there, and we saw that. We saw that with the bat. We saw that with Liz Johnson. Fine line for the hook and then the skid.
Recovers nicely. Okay. Time is running out. 2:22 if she can strike out. Now Dana's working on 5 in a row.
This match is pretty much over with a good...
Count doesn't get much better than that.
And as she's done all week, up about the 5th board, out to about the 3rd board, coming back hard. She really has had no problem with carry throughout most of the week.
Oh, does she look good? Does she look good? Do you realize if it wasn't for the 3rd frame, she'd be looking at $50,000?
Yes, and that was, what, a 7-pin. We tried to see if they'd pay a portion of it, but we tried that the other week. It didn't work.
She does. Oh, my.
Well, she led the field by 367 pins, and she wasn't about to relinquish that lead tonight.
I'm glad she could keep her momentum going. Kathy Doran can only sit and watch, but what a fine week she has had. And Dana Miller-Mackey was just so strong, and sometimes in the stepladder finals, it's so hard to finish first. She did it. Only 7 of 21 TV finals saw the #1 seed finish #1. Dana Miller-Mackey becomes 8-22, and yeah, she's happy.
Kathy Doran stepping up. Fine week for her. A big step. To say, you know, hi to her mom, Marianne, and dad, Big. Thanks to Joe Canigliaro for his help with her thumb inserts.
Got a bad payday, $6,000, but she said she needs it for a long-distance phone bill. She's always calling home, calling her boyfriend, and it adds up. And I think we talked about it. We need a telephone company to sponsor the tour as emotions run high for Dana Miller-Mackey. A lot of phone calls home tonight. And that almost wraps things up here from Jacksonville, but don't you go away, because when we come back, we are going to talk with Dana Miller-Mackey and watch her pick up that big paycheck.
There's your champion of the Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic, Dana Miller-Mackey, doing it in fine fashion, 279 to 211. Dana, great victory. How do you feel about the match?
I felt great. I just real quick, like we don't have much time, so I'd like to thank AMF for taking a chance and sponsoring me, being with me, and also Turbo 2-in-1 Grips and Visionary Bowling Products for being our sponsor this week. And also thanks to Mike, who worked on the bowlers all week as a massage therapist. That really helped. But I thought Kathy Doran bowled great. She's going to win a lot of titles.
And a great champion, Jim Wonders from Visionary Bowling Products, fine sponsors of this event with a trophy.
Thank you. Dana, you shot great all week. You had high scores throughout the week. It was only fitting for you to finish out with such a great match. On behalf of myself and all of us at Visionary Bowling Products, we'd like to present you with this trophy in recognition of your win here at the Visionary Bowling Products Jacksonville Classic.
And coming in with a check, Chuck Lewis and Libby Peterson with the check.
Dana, on behalf of Jax Lanes West, we're very proud to have you as our first champion, hopefully one of many, and we'd like to give you the winner's check for $11,000.
There's your champion. Back to you, Leandra.
So Dana Miller-Mackey of Albuquerque, New Mexico collects a check, her second TV appearance. This one's her first one of 1998. Stay with us here in Florida, because next week it's a Greater Sebring Open in Sebring, Florida at the Kegel Bowling Center. And a reminder that this has been a production of Strike 10 Entertainment.